Finally, get ready for some serious moon action.
Hello fellow compers, and welcome to the first video in a series of tutorial videos for Moon Tools. This first video will go through the interface and go through the process of registration and setup. When you first install Moon Tools and run it from Nuke, you'll see the settings screen and a warning message regarding licensing. So what I'll do is I will take you through the login process, and that will lead on to registration. Each one of the settings tabs is collapsible, so by pressing the right hand arrow key you can expand and collapse each setting in turn. These indicators will tell you whether you have an active license or registration within the Moon Tools server. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is create a new user, and this will be registered on the Moon Tools database. One thing to bear in mind is that the usernames have to be unique. So if you attempt to register a username that's already been taken, then you'll get an error message to say that, and I'm afraid you'll need to make up a new and unique username. I'm going to type in Keanu for the moment, and Keanu has an email address and he has a phone number, which needs to be in the international format. So for the UK I do +44, and I need to create a password and confirm that password for a second time, and if those two passwords agree, then the indicator will go green. Now Moon Tools comes with a complementary application that can run on mobile phones and tablets, and this has the ability for the main desktop application to send notifications to your phone. This is an entirely optional process, so if you don't feel that you're going to be using that facility, then you don't need to provide a mobile number. And there are different ways that the main application can speak to the mobile application. It can either send an email, a text, or a push notification. So in this respect I'm going to put the notify preferences to push and hit the register button, and if I'm successful we will get a brief message to say that the user has been successfully registered and that licenses can be purchased from the Moon Tools website. So I'll click on OK, and then we can go about the process of applying for a license. So rather than creating a brand new license for a fictitious user, I'm just got ahead and used a license that's already running on this machine. As you can see from the indicators, we have 3 for 3. The license is running. This user is registered on the Moon Tools server, and also we have an MQTT broker running. MQTT is a protocol that Moon Tools uses to do remote communication with the remote application that you may be using. So now that we have a valid login and a running license, I can take you through the other settings processes for Moon Tools. I'll collapse that. As you can see, some of the tabs have a lock icon, and these are password protected. If I click on that, I'll be prompted to type in the password, and that will unlock this particular tab. So if you decide to change your notification settings on the server, you can type those new values in and click update, and they will be updated for any future transactions on the mobile application. security. I'll just open that. That allows you to unregister or change your password. MoonTools doesn't keep a great deal of personal information about its users, and if you decide to not use MoonTools in the future, you can click on unregister, and that sends a flag to the database, and all of the details for your current login will be deleted. The password can be updated as well, so by clicking on the password button you'll be prompted to type in a new password, and then that will involve re-logging in to your MoonTools session. MQTT. MQTT is used by the remote application for remote control of the Nuke services. It's running locally on a broker for the machine that you're running Nuke. It is possible to choose a internet-based MQTT broker, but I would seriously dissuade anybody from using that. The security may not be up to scratch on the service provider, and it may be a little bit too slow to be useful. The local port is 1883, which is a standard for MQTT, and that can be adjusted, but do bear in mind that you may have to change your firewall settings for that to be effective. These are the active base apps. There's a small selection at the moment, and in future versions of MoonTools we will be adding to these. There are some probably that you'll not find particularly useful, and so therefore it is possible to switch off the ones that you don't intend on using. The next time you restart Nuke, these applications will not be loaded and will not appear in the menu at the top. This menu expands to the number of applications, and it's very easy to navigate. You just slide left and right and then click on the application you want to use. Okay, so there's a subset of these tools called node tools, and these are specific to a particular Nuke node. I'll go into more details at a later date when we get to node tools, but these can also be switched on and off ad hoc. Next is projects. Now, one thing to bear in mind that this facility is nowhere near as comprehensive or complex as an application like Shotgun, and that may be a distinct benefit if you've ever tried to code for Shotgun. What it does is it allows you to specify a template for your project directories, and that makes accessing Nuke files and image sequences a great deal easier within the Nuke interface. There are a number of preset project directories, and as you can see, they all start with project and they all end in shot. If these fields are in square brackets, then they get treated as a field within MoonTools. It may be the case that you have a directory that isn't within this list, so it's just a simple matter of typing in a new name for them. I've put in the most common ones, where we have project and shot, project sequence and shot, project episode sequence and shot, and project episode and shot. But these can be arbitrary. As long as the fields are in square brackets, they can pretty much be called whatever you like. The only prerequisite is that these template fields must start with project and they must end with shot. In my respect, I have a project that follows this particular template, but I have a hard-coded directory within the project directory called shots. So what I'll do is I will add within this template a directory called shots. So just as a rule of thumb, a field is within square brackets and a directory is just named without the square brackets. So if now I go into my project directory, okay, so now we're in the jobs folder and I'm in a project called PNW, and if I click on choose, and as you can see the project directory has been specified within the project. The next field to include is the template directory. Now it may be a case that you have a certain style of subdirectories within your project that you want to duplicate, and it can be a pain to every time you create a new shot or a new episode that you have to recreate these template directories. So MoonTools allows a facility to create template directories that when a directory gets created for a particular field, those templates are used. I think it's probably best if I just show that. So for example, I have template folders here, and if I double click, you'll see that they are called LUT, ref, plates, output, match, nuke, etc. So I will click on template folders. So any template folder that shares a name with the fields in the structure will be duplicated when it gets created. These template folders can actually include files as well if you need to create common files like LUTs, for example. So the last order of business is to give the project a name. So I am going to call this by its original name, which is Pennyworth. And if I click create, that will create it in the projects table. As you can see, I've already done it, so I won't be doing it again. And this will be used within the MoonTools as a shortcut to the project directory structure. We'll go into more details when we go into certain applications within the MoonTools themselves. So finally, within the settings, we have a status log. So if I click on status log, that will give you a brief indication of what MoonTools is up to. As you can see, it's currently using a particular license. It's managed to start the MQTT broker and is now connected to it. If there are any error messages or procedural problems with MoonTools, this is the first port of call to have a look and see where it's going wrong. And if you need any customer support, copying and pasting this data is probably the first port of call to assist in finding a solution to the problems.